Welcome to Firefeather Equine. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys my setup. I'm at a partial care facility, which means the barn takes care of the horses in the morning and I come out every night to take care of them. There's also, this setup though will work for full care, partial care, self-care, all that kind of stuff. And you could shrink it down to fit outside a stall as well if you really wanted to. So let's start with the feed buckets. Horses naturally eat low to the ground with their head low to the ground out in the wild. They're not eating in a way up here, so I like to keep my buckets lower to mimic that natural position. I also though have to be careful that they don't get their feet caught in the buckets, so I put it just about where the top is above their knee, but if I go any lower it will be below his knees. So that's the sweet spot for me right there. I know you can also use just a little trough and feed them out of that. There's a bunch of different methods. I like this one just because it is easy to move and mess with when I need to, because I will be traveling with them a bunch, and so it's easy to just pack it up and go. Next up is the water buckets. The barn gave us that trough. Nike over here, when it gets really hot out, he likes to paw in the trough, and he won't do it in front of me, so that makes it harder. But he'll spill a bunch of the water and make it all muddy and make it a big mess. So I leave these 2 extra buckets out here so that if he does that, they still have water until I can come out and clean out that trough. If you can tell, it's very cold. It's supposed to snow tonight, so it's very icy. So we have to unplug the hose, and we drain the hose of all the water to keep it from freezing over. Like I said, I'm at a partial care facility, so I just have a little whiteboard up here so that I can change everything. I can say, hey guys, they need to eat this much, they're going to be gone these days. Super simple to handle, and the barn really likes it because I can keep it up to date. Next up is our feed bin. It's nothing very special. It is a trash can with a bungee cord. I can fit about 3 bags of feed in here, which will last these 2 about a month. I put the bungee cord on top because if it rains and it gets windy out here when it rains, the lid has blown off, and so that'll help keep it from blowing off. I have the 2 scoops, that way I can feed both of them at once and they're not and River doesn't try and eat Nike supplements. This lid does lock onto the trash can. You can hear it. And so I like that because, again, it just is one less way for the lid to come off and stuff to get out into it. And I just lock it up like that. Our hay is nothing fancy. It's a tarp zip tied to the wall with a pallet. So I can fit about 6 bales of hay pretty comfortably in here, which is nice. The tarp is from Walmart. It keeps all the water off, and I use the stones to hold the tarp down whenever it's bad weather to keep the hay dry. I like using the pallet too because what it'll do is it keeps the hay off the ground, so if the ground gets really wet, the wetness doesn't soak into the hay and ruin the hay. So I just covered it up. This tarp is plenty big enough to fit everything, and I just take a stone, ta-da, and it's done up on the side as well. Those stones are small enough I can kind of shove them under the crate and in little nooks and crannies to really hold it in place. Next up is our little shed out here. Tack stays in the barn, but the only hard thing with that is I don't have grooming stuff or anything out here unless I decide to put this out here. I use a hay string tied to the fence to hold it closed because it gets windy out here a lot and the doors have broken, so I had to fix that door. Decided I didn't want to do that again. Nothing special in here. I keep some work gloves in case I need them. Nike supplements are in here, halters, mud boots, and then just a grooming kit in case I feel like riding bareback in that arena or doing groundwork. I don't have to walk them into the barn to do so. They really think I'm about to feed them. So, and then we have our little pooper scooper. The barn has a bunch of different wheelbarrows to mess with the pooper, to clean up the poop, so I just keep a pooper scooper out here so I don't have to go into the barn and find one of those. Last but not least, really quickly before the big bobcat comes back over here, is their shed. It's a 3.5 wall shed. They really think I'm gonna feed them. What I like is that even if it's raining in towards them, they're not gonna get super wet. And there's a little salt lick in the corner for them. Yeah, so I'm off to feed them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys again soon.